told me.
Mm-hmm. That's my favorite mug. Although, it's funny. It's the smallest mug I have. It must be British. It's a British mug, isn't it?
I know that one.
It's not American sized.
It holds about 7 litres of tea, doesn't it? Basically, it must be. Well, it's probably twice as big, I guess, because I think
it only fits a third of a cup of bucha.
And all day on the toilet.
Those are incredible. They're absolutely fabulous. And they hold like a pint of tea.
Yeah, literally, and you're peeing all day, aren't you? Two cups of that, and you may as well sit in the toilet and work.
Completely wired.
Good morning. Make sure you guys click the comments so you can see people already saying hello. Good morning, Stephanie.
Oh.
Hi, Donna. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Pauline.
Good morning, everybody.
Nice to see you.
Good morning, folks, or morning, afternoon for us, morning for you.
Yeah.
And probably evening for someone else.
So how are you feeling, Jonno? You're back to 100% yet?
No, not 100%. I've forgotten what 100% feels like, to be honest.
Yeah.
But no, I feel very good, very, very good, and very, very thankful. Last Monday evening, I started to go downhill quite fast with problems in my stomach. I had a doctor out at 3:30 in the morning.
Oh wow!
I was in my normal doctors at 8:30 in the morning, having them called me and bringing me in. Thursday evening, I saw my surgeon. Saturday morning, I had a scan at 9 o'clock in the morning in hospital, and they admitted me there and then, and I had an operation later that afternoon. So, you can't fault the attention that I was given at all, really. And now just recovering from that other op. And just another little scar to add to my collection.
Yeah, you look like you've been eaten by like 3 great whites in different parts of your body, don't you? Probably.
And he's so kind, isn't he? It's like you look like shit today, mate. No, you don't. You don't. But you know what they say? If it doesn't kill us, makes us stronger. So you must be the strongest one in the bunch here, Jonno.
Yeah. I've got a stomach that looks like Clapham Junction, which probably is the very same as a huge New York train station full of tracks. And that's what my stomach looks like. But as we've said before, each one tells a story. Each one is proof of success.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have those scars, the other option ain't really worth thinking about. So I'm very.
Well, the other option would be you'd be talking to us the same as everybody else is on the other side.
I wouldn't give you any bloody peace, that's for sure.
Don't you worry, man.
I'll be shaking that bed. You'll open your eyes and it'll be me at the end of it.
Yeah, well, that bed doesn't shake that often generally anymore.
No.
You two are so funny. So what has been going on? You guys have still been keeping very busy despite all the curveballs you've been getting thrown.
Yeah, always busy. I mean, last Friday, we always meet up on a Friday at the hotel where we do our training. It's a wonderful place for us. It's like a home from home, and we go in now, and all the waitress and staff come and have a chat with us, and they want to know what
the Ghostbusters are here.
Basically,
They do. They come over and have a chat.
They're happy. They don't have to worry about their pub being haunted anymore. It's been sorted out.
No, they do get free clearings, to be fair, because we always make sure that when we go in, obviously the energy is kind of clear and stuff. But effectively, we are so fortunate because it is like the best office you could ever have in this old stately home with, massive grounds, and it's just like energetically.
They promote themselves as the least haunted pub in Britain.
Yeah. And we're very lucky because it is actually stunning. It's a stunning location, and we are treated very, very well there. They do look after us.
If you notice, they haven't given the name of the pub. They don't want 50 people to descend on the pub on Fridays.
Yeah, Beachfield House Hotel in Wiltshire.
Oh, there you go.
By me and Andy. beavering away in the corner somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, we basically sat. I mean, we get more done in a day than we probably get done all week actually when we're together. So you must find the same, Lara. When you're kind of like fragmented away from other people and things, trying to communicate is quite difficult, even with conference calls. But when you sat together, we're basically just going through a list of things to do. Jonno's writing emails and doing one thing, I'm doing something else, and we get through hours and hours of work. And we don't actually chat that much about normal stuff either, do we? Really, it is kind of a very focused kind of time, which is good.
So what have you been doing with your time recently? We've been making plans.
Yeah, lots of plans. We're continuing the work on coming over to New York in October. So that's going ahead. That's really exciting. We're getting ready for the application, for our applications and all that sort of thing. We've got a number of applications that have come into the academy already. We are taking the deposits now. That is happening. So the course is going ahead, and we've got a few spaces left. So it is limited numbers. It's at a very special location in the Ithaca area of New York State. So it's not open to too many, which, like all of our training, we keep it to a set amount really. And that makes it a lot more personal, and it means that we can interact with everybody on a much deeper basis, really.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, the whole way that we train, SRA, Spirit Release Academy, is designed to be, as we all know, a training kind of organisation that trains people to perform spirit release therapy in the way that obviously Dr. Palmer kind of wrote the protocol and that kind of thing. So that's the whole kind of reason for us to be, I guess, to a certain degree. But the way that we want to do that is very connected to the people we're training. So it's not about just turn up, go through a course, disappear, we don't speak to us, see you again. As you know, Lara, this is kind of what we're looking for, is people that want to make this their career or augment their current existing practice with this type of work. And so many people now are actually using the SRT protocol to clear clients before they work on them with whatever other healing modality they use. And it's quite exciting from our perspective to think that this is the kind of prerequisite to clear someone, so that you can really connect to them and you can obviously work on the different levels of healing that different modalities offer. So things are moving quite quickly from our perspective, and obviously we are finding that we've been contacted by quite a lot of quite interesting organisations that are interested in what we do and how we're doing things. So this whole kind of protocol and the way we're working is starting to go off into lots of different areas, which is something that we never really expected, to be honest. But from a training perspective, it's very engaged. It's a kind of intensive week. Yourself, Lara, the kind of day 1 and 2 are kind of ups and downs really, and we clear lots of things and we talk about a lot of things that people have been through, and we and we're kind of working on you as much as we're teaching you really. So there's a personal development aspect to what we do on that training. But by Friday, when you pop out the other end, and hopefully we pop out with you, then what we've actually got is a very connected group of people that have been through some quite intense work together, and we're kind of going to hit the road running from that point onwards. And then, of course, it's bringing those new people into SRA, making sure that they integrate with the existing practitioners like yourself, Lara, so that we kind of don't end up with separate groups of people because they knew each other. We're all about trying to keep everyone openly connected to each other. So we don't want to kind of get to the point that everybody's only familiar with the people they trained with. It's all about kind of training with different people. I think, Lara, from your perspective, you're obviously, you're actually working with all the mediums. So I guess it's interesting to see your kind of opinion of how that's working from someone who's actually doing the work.
And also you're seeing the new mediums come through, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm already working with some of the newly trained mediums. And I look forward to working with the next, the people that finish the online training. I have a couple friends who are in the middle of online training right now, so we could work together. I've got a friend like Sephora Krupnik who is taking the SRA class now, and she's very excited about it. She's already been doing healing work and clearing certain spaces and things for years, but the reason she's joining up is to be part of the team. So she was working for years by herself, and when you're doing this work by yourself, you are kind of Well, obviously on your own. You're, you know, like if shit hits the fan, you're the only one there to clean it up. And it's tougher. And so there's a lot of people I've noticed that are joining up with the SRA for that main reason. It's not just for the training, because the training is invaluable, but also it's the networking, it's the connection, it's the team that makes us so strong. Because there's a lot of people that do clearings, but many of them are kind of, you know, get attacked more often because they don't have the backup that we do.
Yeah. Yeah, and the clearings are different. I know someone, when I first came out of my training with Dr. Palmer 6 years ago, you know, I remember a very prominent medium saying to me, "Oh, you've just done an SRT, or you've just done a clearing course." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I do that." And I said, "No, you don't." And she said, "No, I do that." And I said, "No, you don't. You might do a clearing, you might do attachment removal, but you don't do what we do." And she said, "I do what you do." So I said, "Okay, explain to me what we do," which of course she couldn't. And she said, "How do you know that I don't know that?" And I said, "Because there's only 4 people qualified in the UK as mediums. I'm one of them, and you're not one of the other 3. And it's not an arrogant statement, and I don't mean it to be an arrogant statement. But there are a lot of people that do clearings, right? There are a lot of people that help to clear energy and space, and it all goes under the banner of clearings. And I'm not taking the mickey out of it or being disrespectful in any way at all. But the SRT, remote spirit release, is more in depth than I've ever seen anything before. And when we do a clearing, you know, as both of you guys know, you know, we do a clearing on one person on approximately 17 to 20 different levels. And that is not just attachment removal, because that's one level.
Just one of those 20 things can change your whole life in ways you wouldn't expect. One disassociation can cause huge problems. One thought form can cause huge problems. One curse can cause huge problems. You know, it's like there's a long list of things that we go through that to help clear out all of the baggage that we're carrying around. And it's a lot of baggage.
Absolutely. And when you wrap it all up together, it can create a life-changing scenario for people. And also, you know, we're talking about the courses. The courses, we're told are life-changing. We don't ask that question,
100%.
but we're told it. We're told that the practitioners that come out the other side have a new perspective on life, on healing, on energy, on clearing, on working with different people. And they understand that there's, you know, when we say there's a support structure there, they understand there is a support structure there. You put a call out for some help and you're going to get help. And, you know, it's possibly from people that you met on your first course. And it's very likely to be from people around the world that you've never met before. But they all wear the winged sword, and we're all part of that same tribe, and we look after each other. We really,
it's interesting actually, John. I was talking to someone yesterday, basically one of our practitioners, and it was a Chen chat. She was having a chat with Chen basically and asking for info and some things, and she said, "I never ever thought by taking that course my life would change as it's changed." And some of it was negative, because obviously she ended up losing her job basically not long after. And she said, "I couldn't believe that I got made redundant. I've been there for years and years." And she said, "Now I've just been offered the job of my dreams. I'm doing the work that I never thought I could do." She said, "I just can't believe the feedback." And she said, "You know, this is someone who was very skeptical at the kind of start of this journey, really. And she's only been with us for about 4 or 5 months." And I sat back and kind of smiled to myself and thought, that's such a nice thing to hear from our perspective, because we all know, all 3 of us know how much time and effort we're all putting in behind the scenes, and how much, you know, it's a passionate job. In fact, we're giving our lives to the work effectively. So to hear that back from a practitioner that hasn't been around for that long was really quite supportive, I thought, really.
I think that's
I was
the thing,
just chatting with Leah last night. Leah is one of the new students that from the last class. And we were both chatting about how much this is the best job we've ever had. Like, this is the most fun we've ever had doing anything. It's the most interesting stuff. We are quite literally helping people in ways they couldn't help themselves. And that is something that, I mean, you can't top, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And the value to that is unmeasurable, really. And when you, when you think of the people that we have in our tribe and the way in which they're working and making the differences, it's incredibly humbling. It's incredibly humbling what we see and experience for ourselves. And I think if we're honest, Andy, we never tried to create that in a course. We didn't. We were just trying to create a course teaching people what we do. And then it just overtook, and the course overtook us in that way, and the academy overtook us. And I guess that's also testament to the people that did the course, because they were the right people. Before we did the academy, Andy and I worked out that we could probably name about 100 students who had done the SRT remote spirit release training, and we struggled to name 10 students that were still doing it. Whereas, so we were thinking of about a 90% loss of practitioner after the course. Whereas now with the academy, we have at least a 90% retention.
Yeah, I think that's what Terry noticed. The attrition level was so huge because there weren't really enough people behind the scenes to help. And obviously, Terry was was one person trying to run an organisation on his own. And we both know we struggled to get this up and going, with two of us working hundreds of hours, basically, probably thousands of hours, I guess. So there's no way that Terry was going to be able to do that. And obviously, since he's passed on, as we know, I've had quite a few conversations with him and laughed. And he's kind of openly admitted that without him passing, this would never be a thing, because he would have never gone off in the kind of areas that we've moved it into and done the things that we've done, because Terry was quite controlling about how he liked things to be done and the way things needed to be done from his perspective. And we haven't kind of done that at all. I think I remember John and I talking one day, we were sat talking about something, and you said, we would never have got going with Terry on board with us in the physical. But with Terry behind the scenes, obviously, he created the connection to Lara, he's created the connection to other people. He's in the background continually keeping things working, and obviously the guide team's growing and that kind of stuff. So, this whole thing, it does feel like we're on this. I always feel like we're on this roller coaster. We can't catch up. There's so many new things coming already. So we're talking about how we're connecting to younger people, mental health, and I've got quite a passionate thing about PTSD and working with kind of vets and ex-soldiers, that kind of stuff, because they're bound to have lots of attachments, and that affects the family. And we all know of people that are coming back from war with all sorts of problems, and we haven't even contacted or started to engage and work with them yet. So that's kind of a big piece of work. And then Terry was very keen to get into the prison system and start talking to prisoners and do research on that aspect. And again, we've sort of tentatively started to think about how we can do that. So there's all these different kind of strands, I guess, to what SRA is going to become. And obviously, when we look at the new practitioners, each one's coming in and with the right skill sets for us to be able to augment the kind of academy and go off in those directions. So it is a very, for me, it gets me out of bed every day. It's an exciting place to be, basically.
It is, yeah, and there's more besides. There's other things going on as well. So when people hear Andy and I talk about the courses, we are doing so many other things behind the scenes as well. It's just that we're not ready to have those conversations just yet, because they need to be released at the right times when we're in control of it. But there is so much for us to do, so much for us to do. And as Andy just sort of hinted on, really, that the group that we had in the first phase, we've got those people coming through and helping us in different aspects now. And we're already highlighting people in the second phase that can come through and help us do different things as well. So this is only going to make the foundations of the academy stronger and help us to get the work out there. And we're very, very lucky to be in a position where we have those people that even after doing one course, they're completely dedicated to the cause, if you like. They get it. They get it. They totally get it. They get why they've been chosen to do this course and to do this work. And one of the things that Andy and I always say is, you know, we don't particularly want students that have to think about whether they want to do this or not. We want students that are drawn to it. That's the difference. That's the difference. If you're drawn to this line of work, you will exceed and succeed in it.
I was drawn like a moth to a flame.
That's kind of like Lara. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? The work.
Bug snapper, one of them too.
Yeah,
yeah.
You get picked by the work, not the other way around, really.
I'm pretty sure that this sort of thing you were in training your whole life for. I don't think that the training, you know, starts when you get to Ithaca and then ends when you leave Ithaca. I think the training started, many of us, when we were in our teens, or at least mine did. When I was messing around with the Ouija boards, getting myself into shit, I really was in training at the time, because, you know, you have to understand the importance of this work before you can even get into the work. And I think that is something that I have been getting a full face of my whole life. So really, it's like a pie to the face every few months with some kind of entity, some kind of incident, some kind of weird thing that would happen. And sure enough, I mean, I spent 2 years dealing with migraines as a teenager. Severe pains. In fact, we would go to the doctors and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Nothing, no explanation as to why I had these horrible migraines whenever I was messing around with the Ouija boards and all this stuff, you know? So it's like, I've been dealing with psychic attacks my whole life. I didn't know what they were. And then now that we get into this class and we get this healthy, you know, cleansing of everything that we've got, all this baggage is gone. Now, when we get a psychic attack, you don't automatically go thinking, oh, maybe I didn't drink enough water today. Or maybe maybe I didn't get enough rest last night. As soon as I had that attack, I was like, all right, something is not right. Like, what is going on here? And sure enough, I was right. And there's so many things we don't realize why they are the way they are until you get involved in this work. It's the biggest piece of the puzzle that I have discovered yet as to why reality is the way it is.
I think that's the whole thing, isn't it? When you sort of look, I think when you're younger, in your teens and your 20s, you're so kind of focused on work and money and family and children and your life, you don't really look outside of the box particularly. But by the time you get into your late 30s and 40s and 50s, you've been around long enough to start to see things that don't look right and things that don't operate in the right way. And then you start to look at the politics, the political system, and the structures of the planet, and start to wonder why things are the way they are. And that's when you start to question what's going on in this reality, that rabbit hole takes you straight to entities, basically. And then that's kind of, you know, where you end up with this concept that, okay, we do have, you know, negative entities that control the planet, really, and control the organizations and the corporations and the government structures. And that's when we're all in the shit, basically, from my very blunt summary.
100%. And even people that are, you know, they're not even involved in sort of things. Somebody just mentioned hospitals. You know, I worked at a hospital. I got migraines there and still fight them. So you don't know how much you're being affected by things. Hospitals are one of the biggest hot spots we have, as Jonno can attest. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, look at it seriously. This is what I do. I've done this for years. I take psychic protection extremely seriously. I preach it. I live it. I breathe it. And the only times I've picked up attachments, probably in the last certainly 8 to 10 years, are within the last 3 years, directly from me coming out of hospital after having operations.
Well, if you think about it, your vibration is low, your body is not in optimal health, you've got all kinds of fear because of what you're having to go through. And so, yeah, it's like your field of protection goes down a little bit, and that's when they're there. That's when they get you.
You can't help but do it. You know, if you're on serious medication, you know, whether it be prescribed or otherwise, you cannot help your consciousness because your frequency is being shaken. So when you're going under anesthetic and you're going into operation and you're then on heavy medication, it's no wonder. It's just that, fortunately, with myself, Louise, who's very, very on it when it comes to me in hospital and out of hospital, we were able to just annoy Andy until he gave me a clearing. But you know,
you annoy me all the time.
Yeah, but it is as simple as that. You know,
happening, though, they can be so intense, and you don't even know. You don't even. I didn't even have the thought the other day when I first hit me of what it was. I just knew something wasn't right. And sure enough, as soon as you guys cleared me, the pain went away, the headache was gone.
Yeah, the last one I had no idea. And it was Louise that kept saying, something's wrong with you, something's wrong with you. And I'm like, I'm fine. I feel absolutely fine. She was saying, no, there is something wrong with you. I mean, she says that a lot in a way, but
she's probably right, to be fair.
She is right. She's always right. She's always right. But yeah, and I was sitting with Andy. We were on our Friday, and just as we were working, I just said, "Can you just give me a little clearing, mate?" And he sort of said, "Yeah, done." And I could feel my energy lift. And this is the thing, you know, everything that we do, nothing is about fear mongering. Nothing is about scaring people into it. It is all about empowering, all about teaching people that you can be in control of your energy. You can look after your energy. You can keep that sovereign energy, and you understand how it gets affected. And when you understand how it gets affected, it helps you to understand how you can keep it. And not only do you understand how you can keep your own energy pure and sovereign, but you can help other people as well. And that's then where it becomes very, very humbling.
I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, but my mom picked up something from the news. She was feeling very down. She was even thinking like, oh, I can't handle my life the way it is. I got to get rid of my animals. She was just feeling. And as soon as she started saying things like that, I was like, this is very out of character for you. She's like, I just want to cry. I feel so miserable. And I was like, nope, there's something wrong. I'm checking you. You'll be right back. And it was funny. It took me about 20 minutes to get a hold of one of the mediums. And I called the medium. We got on the call. We cleared her. As I went to call my mom to see how she was feeling afterwards, she was laughing when she answered the phone, laughing her butt off. And I was like, what is so funny? And she goes, I knew you were about to call me. I felt it leave. I knew it. She goes, immediately, I felt it was like this dark cloud just lifted off of me and disappeared. And she goes, and I immediately, the first thing I could do was just start laughing. And I laughed for a good 30 seconds. And that's when you called. She goes, I would just immediately, she felt it just leave, this darkness. And I was like, see, that's why she believes me now. I mean, she didn't completely believe me after the whole reptilian thing where she lost her memory for a few hours. She's a bit like, that's weird, but I'm getting old. You never know. This time she was like, okay.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, yep, 100%. I felt it. I know the difference. And now she knows what being sovereign feels like. So if something is wrong, she messages me and goes, yep, can you check me, please? And it's funny. She didn't even just say it with me. She's like, can you check my husband? Can you check this? There's something not right here.
Before you know it, you've done the whole street.
Well, I think that's the thing as well, isn't it? Most people have never felt sovereignty. They don't have any understanding of what being sovereign feels like. And that's 99.9% of people walking the planet, in my opinion. But when you actually achieve sovereignty and you know what it feels like to not have influence negatively, then that becomes highly addictive because that's what you want to be all of the time, obviously. Sorry, dog's barking now, someone's at the door. But yeah, I mean, I kind of see it almost like, again, we're not teaching and we're not pushing negativity and fear, which I know like lots of people want to talk about the positive stuff and angels and love and light, which is great. But, you know, all of those things you can't have unless you're sovereign, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And Napu had a good question. She goes, do you have any opinion about giving birth in a situation? Is there a risk of entities or bad spirits? Speaking as somebody that dealt with postpartum depression, I think that might be one of the root causes as to why we feel so depressed when we leave the hospital. And the thoughts that I was having afterward, you know, of self-harm and things were not normal for me at all. And were not anything like what I had gone into the hospital. Coming out of it, I felt very low and very, you know, just depressed. And so having negative thoughts about myself and about my situation and all of those things. And it took months for me to feel normal again. And it's interesting. It makes you wonder how many people are actually leaving with a hitchhiker and it's actually making them feel that way.
Well, the care home was the same. I know John just talked about his experience with hospital. I mean, as you probably will remember, I had the same thing basically when I'd visited my mum who was passing in that care home, and I had the same thing. I came home, I felt fine. You know, I knew some people had died that day or that week, but I didn't. I mean, as John says, our protection is what we do every day. But it was only that night at midnight when I was climbing into bed, and Jane said, "There's some funny stuff. You're not quite right." And I, like John said, I felt totally fine. I said to her, "No, I'm cool." And she's like, "No, need to speak to John." And of course, it was midnight, so he's busy snoring away. Jane's panicking that there's things with me that was making her feel uncomfortable. And of course, in the morning, effectively, John, quick clearing. Yep, you had some shit with you, and that had gone. But if we don't know that we're changing, and we do this every single day, and we're on it every single day, then imagine what it's like for most other people.
Yeah. You can't self-analyze. I guess you can to a degree, but to the degree that we're talking about, it's really hard to self-analyze because you need that person who is detached from you to go in and work, because there's no influence there. You can't. One of the reasons why I believe you can't do this yourself is that if you have got anything with you, then you can't trust your conscious. If you can't trust your conscious, then you can't do a self-clearing.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And
one of the things that really caught my attention, like Aaron says, that's postpartum as a result of the hormonal changes. The thoughts I was having after giving birth was to launch my baby out the window. That's not a fucking hormonal change. Okay. In fact, it actually scared me to the point where I didn't want to be alone with my own child. It terrified me. I sobbed. It ruined my first night with my child because I sat in my bed sobbing to myself as to why I would have those thoughts. That is not normal. And I do not think that's a postpartum. I mean, maybe for some people, yeah, hormonal changes, but those thoughts were not me. And they were the worst thoughts that popped into my head in years. I hadn't been in hospital since I was 14. So for me to be having those kind of thoughts when I'm at my most vulnerable, it traumatized me. It made me question whether or not I was going to be a good mother.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that is not normal. And that's why I say a lot of women, they get scared because of these things, these thoughts that come into their heads.
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, the drugs that you're on, the emotional roller coaster that you're going through mentally and physically, and, the reality of what you have just done, what a shaking of fucking frequency that is. But imagine getting to the stage where the midwife is able to clear energy and able to clear the room, able to clear the room of the procedure that was before.
Yes.
So that when you as a new mother or an expectant new mother walks into that room, you walk into a clear energy field. How incredible would that be?
Literally on a report that I did yesterday, and this is crazy, we're talking about this, literally on a report I did last night, we found an implant in a baby's neck. And we asked how it got there, and they said it was put there in the pre-delivery, what do you call it, the delivery room. It was put literally the minute that baby was born, an entity was waiting to put an implant in its neck. And that really upset me last night. It triggered me a little bit. I was like, Jesus, can't they be left the fuck alone for 1 minute? That was my instant reaction. What the hell? I got mad.
Well, you think, Lara, you think about what that baby's going to be on its path. So you can imagine if that baby was going to be something like what we're doing, you could see why that would be such a massive threat to the negative side. And they want you taken out early before you become adult or adult enough to be able to do this type of thing. So I think the game is ramping up because there's more and more people understanding what we do, how we do things, and the importance of it. I think the stakes are starting to move upwards, and obviously the negative side, we'll know that as well. So they'll know that if we can get to a position that we can have people like ourselves in medical organisations, in delivery suites and surgeries and those sorts of things, it's a game changer really for humanity as kind of a position that we can actually maintain our own human sovereignty. And obviously the whole AI thing is another side conversation of that.
It was AI. It was an AI implant what we found.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. They're everywhere these days. AI is in freaking everything. It's even in food. I found out. We found AI in somebody's stomach not too long ago, and I asked how it got there, and they said, "Oh, it was consumed in the food they were eating." And it made me think of those like nanobots and things that they're putting in things that you're reading online about all the time, you know, like putting nanobots in Doritos and shit. You know, like apparently, I mean, they must be if we're finding AI in people's gut.
Yeah, right.
You know, not trying to scare anybody, but that's just some crazy shit, and that should not be there. And when you go looking, you don't know what you're gonna find. We find things every day. Even the soul guides sometimes are just like, damn, like. Even they sometimes are shocked by what they find.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. None of this is about scaremongering at all. It's all about educating and being confident and being able to deal with it yourself. And if you can't deal with yourself, allow yourself to receive the help of the others around you. That's also a very big lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that for me, I mean, this is the whole, for all three of us, this is the reason we wake up in the morning, isn't it? It's because we've been affected by negative things in our lives very detrimentally, and that then gives you this kind of massive passion, basically, to effectively fight back in the only way that works. Because becoming angry and becoming negative and moving into violence and things is never going to fix any of these problems on the planet at all. No. The way that we're working is the only way, and that's kind of what obviously Chan's teaching and Whitehawk and stuff are talking about, is that changing people's frequency and clearing this negative layer and pushing these entities back is the resolution, really, the only resolution that we actually have effectively.
Thank you. 100% agree. In fact, I was looking for something like this for a decade as to how I could be more effective. It's like I've known about the problems for years, but I have felt helpless. Like I was unable to do anything about it. Like I'm only one person and the world is such a mess. How are we going to do anything? And now we realize we can do quite a bit. In fact, we are.
And fish that wash up on the beach, one by one, they're getting put back in the sea.
That's one of my favorite little photographs. The guy with the seashells that throws them back, because that is the saying, isn't it? Because I had a friend, actually, one of my best mates, and when I used to be working with Chan and working on people, and he used to say, yeah, it's all very well you learning to do this and you working as an individual, but you can't change anything yourself, and when you're dead, who's going to carry it on? And I didn't have the answers at the time. I said, I don't know. I said, all I'm doing is putting the time in to work with Chen and learning what I need to do, and something will come up. And I didn't have an answer. And of course, effectively, then obviously met Terry in this path. And this is the answer, isn't it? Is that we create something where we train people. And, as we all get older and kind of move out or, move to the other side, as Terry did, then the work still continues. The new people coming in continue it. So this whole thing, if we can keep the traction, which is the key, really, is trying to keep this ship moving forward and to kind of build up enough people that it sustains itself and becomes this snowball effect. And that's kind of what I feel is kind of our job, as in the three of us, really, because we have to keep this thing moving. Yeah, I mean, and eventually it will become this kind of snowball that rolls downhill on its own, because it won't just require 1, 2, or 3 of us to do things. There'll be hundreds of people all over the world doing the same things in the same way, teaching the same things, and it's going to be, I think we'll look back in 5 years and wonder how we ever did it, probably.
I look back now and wonder.
Right sometimes.
Yeah. But I think that's, I think that's the thing. It's just, it's creating something that has legs and that will roll itself. Has legs and will roll itself. I'm not sure if that's the right phrase, but exactly what I mean.
Where'd you get that one from?
Yeah, it will self-run. It will run on its own. And that's that is what's being created now, and it's I have no doubt at all that in 5-10 years' time, the movement of remote spirit release will be far, far bigger, because the amount of people, good quality professional people that are coming into it and working it now. And one of the questions I saw a little bit earlier was, what's the difference between doing the online course and the in-person course? So you are doing exactly the same course. It is exactly the same. We have, and for both courses, we have an online section, a Q&A section where you have to go in and you have to read and understand what it is we do, which means that when it comes to the actual teaching, we don't have to teach you certain phrases. We don't have to teach you some of the buzzwords that we use. So you have that base level of understanding. On the online course, there's going to be monthly teachings with myself and Andy, and we're going to get you ready to be able to do practical work, working with a medium, working with a facilitator, working real life cases, because you cannot do a practice case because there's no such thing as a practice clearing. You have to be able to get in there. We call them practicing, but it's a real life case. Every case is real. Yeah. So we get you to the stage where you go through your practice clearance and work your practice clearance, get to a level of confidence and competence. And then from that, you then go on and produce your portfolio, which is your whole write-up of the course. And you also do your case studies, out of which at least one of them will be watched by an assessor. So it's a very serious thing we're doing, because the benchmark to certification is very high and it will never be lowered. It has to match our standards. The difference with the online course is that the difference with an in-person course is that you'll be in a room with us.
Trapped.
Can't get out.
Yes.
And you'll see as soon as you spend that amount of time in a room with myself and Andy, it's a very heavy subject that we have to teach, and we go through a lot of mental health, physical abuse. We go through a lot of things in that course, but the energy is always kept high, because we do like a joke. We do take the mickey out of each other. We take the mickey out of ourselves, and we keep that energy fluid and flowing. And even though it's a very heavy energy work that we do, it's a very positive environment that we create and we're in. So it is a very different thing when you're in that space. And of course, it means you get to know us a little bit differently, because we're not on a Zoom for an hour. We're in the same room as you since 9 a.m. till 5 p.m, 5 days a week, talking to you, sharing examples, sharing experiences. So the course is exactly the same, but the environment, I guess, is totally different. If that's fair, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, this was the whole thing, wasn't it? The kind of ask, really, from Terry's perspective to us, really, at the start of this engagement, was to be able to do it online. And we both sat down and said, we can't teach it online. It's just too difficult. There's too many moving parts. It's so much easier in a room with people that you can talk to. And as you say, there are ups and downs and there's emotion and that kind of thing. Trying to do that online is a real big ask, which is why we came up with the concept that we could write the theory part of the course so that people can go through the theory. And that bit, is I don't think it's difficult, is it, Lara? But it just takes time, basically. But it's more about, for most people understand the concepts of the theory course, because it's just covering the spiritual aspects of what we're talking about, really, in terms of meditation and all of the other kind of keywords that you need, so that when we talk to you, we're all talking about the same thing. But it's the kind of the after that part, really, as Jonno says, the trying to teach people to do clearings in real life on real people, where you are going to come up against negative things, and we are going to clear those negative things. And it's there's a lot of jubilation involved in this process, and there's some lows as well. And obviously, trying to do that online is slightly different, but we have actually come up with the method that we're pretty sure is going to work really well. So again, it's I think from and that's why it's taken so long, because probably a year ago we were talking about the online course is more or less ready and we're going to teach it. And then we pushed it to December, then January, then February. And we're about to online these people now that are paid in August. So we're about to start with their logins, and we're about to start the first group. So it's going to be exciting from our point of view that we've actually got to a point that we can do this online, because it has been a bit of a journey, really.
Yeah. And it's only for no other reason than we want to get it right. Because, the amount of exposure and what we're told by the people that come and do the courses, what they go through, we have to be able to deliver the same support and the same structure for the people online on the Zoom as we do for people that are face to face in the same room. And we owe them nothing less than that. So this is why it takes so long to get everything ready, really.
It's funny, a minute ago when you were talking about the cases that we work on people, I had to giggle to myself, because last night I worked on a horse.
Yeah.
We actually we had one of our practitioners has an injured horse. The horse is colic, I believe, or something. The horse is quite unwell. I had to go to the ER, the horsey ER. And we said to the soul guides last night, I said, can we work on this horse? Can we do psychic surgery? And the guides were like, yeah, of course. So we tuned into the horse. The horse was having an out-of-body experience. In fact, we had to realign the horse's out-of-body. We brought them back in. We anchored them back into the... You know what's interesting? They actually had a conversation with the horse, the soul guides. And they explained to the horse that the horse is not allowed to leave yet because they have more things they have to do. They have, there's certain energetic anchorings, things that they're doing for the property itself. So the horse has actually helped to raise the vibration of the property and has this actual role to play. And it's so funny how much we were actually... It's not just people that you can work on with this work. In fact, there are animals that are highly benefiting from this work because the animals get attachments too. And animals have out-of-body experiences and have illnesses. And even if you don't want to work on people, you could even do SRA on animals.
Absolutely. I mean, animals have a spirit, right?
Yeah,
animals are energy. Exactly. So if they have a spirit and their energy, they're open to every single thing that we are in the universe. And I think the weirdest, I was asked to clear a family, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. And at the bottom of the booking, it said, "And please clear my car. It's an angry bugger." And at the time I was like, "What? Clear your car?" All right, we'll give it a go. But sure enough, just as you go through the clearings, you work people, children, adults, parents, cousins, family members, pets come into it, houses come into it, land comes into it, and the car came into it. And as we were working, I was like, right, now let's go through the car. And they were like, yep, in the car there's this. And I'm like, what the what? And they're like, yep, all this needs to go. All this needs to go. The car basically wasn't very happy. So yeah. You, in this line of work, you learn to work with no boundaries and no restrictions.
I did ask the guides to clear my radio the other day. My radio kept turning itself on and off, and it will. Like, you guys were actually on the call, if you remember. My radio just turned itself on and started blaring really loud for no reason, and I'm like, like there's something not right here. And sure enough, they cleared my stereo for me. They're like, yeah, there was some electrical disturbances. We've cleared it. And we found AI in somebody's car yesterday. So yeah, it's not surprising that even our electronics needs clearings these days. It's energy, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when I was at home, when I had my sort of family home before, I had my own dedicated healing room. I was very lucky. I had my own practice room. And there was one person that used to come for healing. I won't mention their name because it's sort of confidential when you work in healing, but it is one of our practitioners now. And she used to come. I used to do the healing on her. And in the healing sessions, things used to fly off my shelves. And physical things used to fly off my shelves, land on the floor. I had walnut floor, so it was hard. I had glass objects and ornaments that would smash. The CD, going back to the days of CD players, the CD used to stop, the tray used to come out, all that sort of thing. And we were like, every time we were like, there's some freaky shit going on. But it's energy, isn't it? And what you actually had in that room were 2 physical mediums. When you have 2 physical mediums together, physical things happen. And it's all part of the learning experience and the confident growing. But there's a lady that I saw who commented saying that this is badass because she could pull her teeth but couldn't do this work. And as far as I'm concerned, I would be more than happy to do a clearing and do this work. And I would never ever be badass enough to pull my own tooth.
Yes, exactly. Do you hear that, Corey? You are a badass.
Yeah.
That's
you're
so
up there.
funny. Yeah, so there's a lot. So Jessica says, so we can book this specifically for pets. Yeah, you can. We can clear your pets 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. So on the booking forms, just put down that it's for your
You
cat.
just add it, yeah, add it to your
or
clearing. We're
whatever.
happy to check your pets. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, go for all that. Go for all that. It's such an interesting module of work. There really are no restrictions in what we can do.
One of our friends watching now had me clean their whole farm. We cleared their whole farm. All that we had hundreds of animals to check that we checked all in one go. The soul guides are very meticulous when they do their checks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's the thing.
You never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, as more and more people get aware of it, more and more people want it, more and more people need it. And one of the things that you experience as a practitioner is that somebody will come to you for the first time and they will say, I don't know why, but I'm drawn to you. I'm drawn to having this done. You do the work, and then within a week, you get the other bookings, the parents, the cousins, the family members, and you get the recommendations to friends. And then those recommendations come in, they have their clearings. And then you get the feedback from that clearing. And then you also see their family members come through in the next couple of weeks. And then their friends come through. And the work is just so needed. And well, it is. It's just everywhere you look at the moment in the media or whatever, there's a lot of crap going on. And people are suffering. There's a huge amount of mental health. There's a huge amount of physical abuse. And this stuff is just needed everywhere throughout the whole world. Absolutely, I believe it 100%. Got to start somewhere, and it starts with this.
100% agree. Somebody just asked, where can you book a clearing? And another person asked, do you mind posting the link for the course? And I just shared the spiritreleaseacademy.com link. That's technically for both. So you can see information on the course info. You can find links to practitioners up there. If you go to the top, you'll see a long list of practitioners. Every single one of them up there is a phenomenal practitioner that will assist you with the clearing. You can book with Jonno, you can book with Andy, you can book with myself, with Dave or Ruth or anyone else that's on this wonderful group of people. All of them. We have a long list of wonderful practitioners, some of which have longer wait lists than others. How long is your wait time right now, Andy? Is it less than 4 months like it was before?
Might have come down slightly, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, mine came down a lot because I cleared a lot of mine because I knew I was going into hospital and needed recovery. So I cleared a lot. So mine's actually quite small at the moment.
There you go. So if you guys need one right away, you can book one with Jonno. He's on the list. There's his website right there at the bottom of the chat, jonnowebster.co.uk. You can book
and
with
he's bored all day. He needs something to do.
Oh, yeah.
Jonno is amazing. By the way, really good with psychic surgery as well. They both are. So psychic surgery is for when you've got physical ailments too. So it's not just the clearing of attachments and clutter and baggage that we clear. It's also about the blockages that we can help remove that are obstructing healing, and all kinds of different things that can, just give you a little boost in regards to your healing. So Jonno saved my butt, literally, when it came. He gave me 3 psychic surgeries, and my ailments went away, and they have not been a problem since. So I can attest as to how effective it really is when you do psychic surgery. So, like I said, for any physical ailments that you guys might have, yeah, it works very well.
Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. And the course, if there is anybody interested in the course, we do have limited spaces available, but we do have places available. And different things that make our course unique is that, we look for the right person. We have to be able to fit you as much as you fit us. This is not a press a button and automatically sign up. So we are looking for the right people that are going to take this to the next level. We say we have about an 80% success rate in what we do. And we're looking for people to come into the academy that are going to help us find that 85%, that 87%, 90%, and increase it. And that's what we have now. We have some wonderful practitioners from our first phase. That was enhanced on our second phase. We've got some brilliant practitioners coming through there that are now recently getting certified, and they're going out doing their work. And I've seen Matt's name come up. If you're talking about somebody who's got a gentle, powerful persona and energy. That's Matt. You know,
We love Matt.
We've got some wonderful, wonderful people coming through, and the end result is the client. The end result is mental health. The end result is people taking responsibility and being able to take responsibility for their own energy, and that needs practitioners, and they're the people that we need to help take that torch on, really.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody just had a question. Go ahead, Andy. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that I think that's the whole thing, isn't it? From our perspective, is that we're looking to kind of move this to a worldwide training organization. So we're looking obviously quite a long way in the future. We're looking to get to a point that, you know, training courses are running every 2 or 3 months in every country around the world, because we need to skill up lots of people to do this work. And obviously to do that, we need a lot of people. So we need lots of practitioners. But again, we want the right people. So we're looking for people that actually really, like yourself, Lara, that are passionate about this type of work, working with us primarily, but working to help heal the planet is what we're all about, really. And I know it kind of sounds quite grandiose, but if you look at a lot of healing modalities, they're very like people focused. So they're working on an individual person and trying to help that person, which of course is great, which this work does. But on the greater level, every time we change someone, we change their family. Like Jonno says, we normally book appointments for their family and clear them. And then what's happening is, as people start to see the power of the way this works, they then want to become practitioners generally. So we're kind of augmenting the team with people that have had problems, that realize how this works and why it works. And of course, that way we're making this vibratory change to the planet, which there isn't really much else you could do on any scale that can do that. And that was kind of why I was into it, really, because I started working one-to-one with people, and then obviously with Terry, and obviously then conversations with Jonno, we realized that this is one of the only things you can do to change the planet's vibration. So, you know, if you're here on this kind of like your kind of spiritual path to do the things you're supposed to be doing, this is the kind of biggest ask, really, that humanity can have of you, and it's the biggest thing that you can do to kind of put your energy into the bucket to make the big changes that are required.
Yeah, 100%. It is.
Our group gets stronger with every student that joins us. 100%.
Say that again.
We get stronger with every new student that joins us.
Without question. Without question.
And our ripple effects get bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. That, you know, we have a phrase in the academy, shields up. And that's about protecting ourselves, protecting each other. And for everyone that joins us, our shield gets stronger. There's absolutely no question whatsoever about that. And I think it was Michelle that was asking, is to be a practitioner, do you need to be already able to speak to your higher self and your guides? So just to explain it a little bit more for you, Michelle, we have 2 types of practitioner in one team. We have a facilitator and we have a medium. The medium must be a competent, confident working medium. This is not a spiritual development course. This is for people that have gone through their years of training and they're now competent at being spiritualist mediums or healers in that way. So they must be able to communicate with guides to a very competent level. The other person is a facilitator, and the facilitator must be a confident person who can manage the whole session. We've heard it before where someone has said, oh, facilitator just reads questions. Absolutely not. Couldn't be further than the truth. The facilitator manages the whole session and keeps the whole session running, whilst the medium can solely concentrate on the connection to the spirit guides. So we do have the facilitation, Michelle, where you don't have that requirement of being able to talk to your guides. And in fact, we completely discourage it. The facilitator is not there to talk to guides, to tune into the clearing. The facilitator is there to keep the mediums safe, to keep them safe, to keep the clients safe, and to make sure that the protocol is followed in a smooth and easy direction. And there are times where that, you know, dependent on the experience of the facilitator, where they go into different things. But very basically, we teach it that the facilitator has a job to do, and your concentration is solely on that one job. And if you do that, you're going to have a medium that will want to work with you because they're confident working with you and you're going to get lots of work with the mediums because they will want to work with you. So you don't have to have that. As Andy will say, you know, lots of people that come in on facilitation, they also start their mediumship or their spiritual journey as well. So they come in as facilitators. You know, we've got Lara here, we've got other people as well, and they start having that interest in going into other things. But that's not this course. This course is purely to get you at the highest possible level as a facilitator or as a medium, where we can do spirit clearings to the very, very best of the ability of the guides and the team with the support of the academy. And nothing else is acceptable. We have to hit that standard. But yeah, great question.
Erica says, does a facilitator medium have to be together physically to do remote clearing? No, we work over Zoom most of the time.
So this is a prime example. You've got 3 of us here. And it could be that you got Lara facilitating. Could be that you got Andy working as the medium. And the client is somewhere else in the world. Providing you have a level of communication, you have a way of working. Usually it's all done over Zoom, so you can get that connection to your practitioner.
Miriam says, in cases of practicing any other kind of clearing SRT, such as SCHH, which is with hypnosis, could it affect our participation in this course? No, you just have to learn the way you can practice things differently. It's just that the way, if you're going to practice our form of SRT, you just have to do it the way that we do it, is all. So you can practice multiple modalities, but it's just when you are doing SRA cases, the way that we conduct them, you have to kind of stick to the protocol in a way to make sure that it's being done correctly.
It's very in depth, and we have had it. We had it from the first course, Andy, where someone was saying to us, "Oh, I kind of do my own thing," and we were like, "Right, okay." And then she went on to say, "But it's not as effective." So we're like, "Well, why are you doing it then?" And she was like, "Well, I only do half the protocol because I want to save a bit of time or whatever." And we're like, "Well, don't do that. Don't do that. You know, you're here to work the protocol. The protocol has been developed over 11 years. It's there for a reason. Don't come in on 5 minutes and just think you can take things out and then believe that you're going to get the same result. You will not get the same result. If you're going to take things out, you're going to get a lesser result." So it is one of those things, is that if people book the type of clearing that we do, they deserve to have that type of clearing given to them. So that's where we insist that if they book an SRT clearing in our manner, that's exactly what they get.
Yep, absolutely. And
I think it's a good point as well, because I think there are so many different healing modalities and different people are skilled at doing different things. And that for me was always where we can offer this like initial prerequisite clearing, really. So regarding what you do or how you do things, if you follow the SRT method and clear your client, then of course you can work with them in hypnosis or psychiatrically or any other way, basically. But you're dealing with just a sovereign person that you can talk to and engage with their conscious awareness. But from our perspective, the whole point of this isn't we put like binding, and we don't sort of bind anyone in any way. If you're doing an SRA clearing, do an SRA clearing. If you're doing something different, do something different. It doesn't really matter from our perspective at all. As long as the client knows what they're going to get, that's the kind of key thing, really.
I actually have several hypnotists that will actually go and book a clearing for their client without their client even being aware of it first. But they're like, well, I've got this client coming. They've got a lot of trauma and stuff from the past. So before they come, would you please do a clearing on them? And I'll give you a percentage of what they paid for the hypnosis session. And I'm like, fine, sure. So yeah, I have actually been clearing clients for people before they even go for hypnosis, because hypnotists are being well aware now. They're starting to realize how much an attachment will affect the session.
I think as well, I think
it breaks the session completely. You won't be able to go under if something doesn't want you to, that's attached to you. Or if it does, that's what will come out, not your higher self.
That's the other problem, I think. And also the hypnotists are realizing they're becoming attacked by the things that with the clients. So not only is it a case that your session doesn't really work that well, you end up being attacked psychically yourself or your family. And of course, that has a huge knock-on effect. So if you're doing 1 or 2 sessions a day, no big deal. But if you're doing 5 or 6 sessions a day over a week, over a month, you are going to find clients that have got entities with them that will attack you psychically. that is going to affect your health and your family's health, and generally your
I've
income
had
stream.
3 hypnotists, Andy, message me saying they got force choked while they were trying to put somebody under. I've had 3 message me in the last 6 weeks alone of hypnotists. Force choke is like when you get that Vader choke, when something you can't see is choking you. It's cutting off your windpipe. We call it the force choke. Yeah, that's what happens when they're trying to talk the client under, and all of a sudden they have a coughing fit, or they feel like something is literally pushing on their windpipe, and it scares the shit out of them.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
This is the thing. Andy will as well. I have people that are practicing hypnotists, and just like you, Lara, we get the cases before they do the work, and we clear them before they have the hypnosis session. But also, we have people from a very high level of hypnosis understanding and certification, and they come and do this work because they want to understand more about this side, because this is the side that's in the trenches. This is the side that
100%.
gets all the crap out, which then means that the hypnotist, the practitioner, or whatever aftercare therapy you're going through has a clearer route, and which is far more beneficial to the individual. Far more beneficial.
There were a couple of questions about psychic surgery. One was a good question a couple minutes ago. They booked psychic surgery for a non-believer, a normie, and there wasn't as much of of effect. They felt the same afterwards. So is belief playing a certain role in psychic surgery, or do you think it's more about thoughts? Because sometimes our thoughts can sabotage us, and if you're not, if you're healing the body but not healing the mindset, that sometimes these things can come back in. Is that that's my summary of this, I would imagine.
So thought forms are very, very powerful for a start. So you don't have to believe in psychic surgery, but if you don't want to believe in it and you have it, you might be putting up blocks and defenses against it. Also, one of the things is that if you've been carrying something for 10, 15, 20 years, one psychic surgery session just might not be enough. I know with you, Lara, we worked 3 times. But you're only talking 3 times to make a difference that somebody has been suffering for a number of years. This is not, we don't produce anything where we want repeat clients. And it might be that you have 3, 4, 5 sessions, but compared to having that ailment for 10, 20, 30 years, it's absolutely nothing.
So how do you know if you need more than one? Do the guides generally tell you?
Because it doesn't work as well.
Okay. Well, you automatically did the 3 for me. You were like, this is going to require probably 3 sessions. And I was like, okay. And
so
it did.
With you, I was a little bit more honest just because I know you. I never tell someone I need to work on you again, or very, very rarely do I say that, because I'm very conscious that there are so many people out there, Lara, and they say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this for you, but you have to book another 10, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. And I'm just not that person. I would rather work the booking that you come through as strongly as we possibly can. Sometimes I do say there's ongoing healing required, and I leave it at that. With you, because I know you, I was able to turn around to you and say, Lara, I'm being told 3. I'm being told 3 sessions, no more than that. And I think it was you or someone else who I knew as well. And we were 1 below the limit that we were told. And that might not be you. And they were like, no, I don't need the next one. I don't need the next one. And I was like, no, you're having it. Whether you want it or not, you're having it. Because they said 3. On that case, actually, it was 4. And we had 3. And he was like, I don't need the next one. And I was saying, no, you're having it. You're absolutely having it. I don't care if you feel better after 3. They said 4. And my trust is with them. So he had that one. And he's never come. And this is a guy that I know, a guy that had spinal injury, and that 4 sessions, he's never had the problem since. So
same here.
Does it not work because someone doesn't believe? Absolutely, it works, whether they believe or not. It would help if somebody believed, because just as Lara was saying, you're going through that whole vibration thought pattern and thought form. You're willing yourself to be better. Energy follows thought. And if you have a thought that it's not going to work, guess what energy is following? if you have a thought that it is going to work and that your muscle memory around that ailment is actually improving as well, so that even the muscle memory around that ailment no longer believes that that's there, you're now talking about changing your frequency and changing your vibration. And if you start changing your frequency and vibration, you're now creating physical change. And this is where the miracle happens. So psychic surgery is great. I love it. I believe in it totally. But it is something very often that does require more than one session.
Does one person want to know if it helps with eating disorders?
I believe that it helps with everything.
Yeah.
It helps with everything. What it doesn't do is change habit. So,
that's the key right there, though. Yeah.
So for something like an eating disorder, you wouldn't, or the way that I would work, the way that the team would work, I should say, not me, is that there's nothing physical to go in and work. There's not part of the spine or neck that needs repair work. We're going in on the brain. We're going in on the brain wave and working the neurons through the brain to change the way the thought pattern works through the body. If we can do that, there can be change. But if your habit is to do exactly the same as the day before, your habit will then bring that thought pattern back into place. If that makes sense. Just the same as cutting a cord. Sorry, my son's trying to call me.
No, you're fine.
It's the same as cutting a cord. You can cut a cord now, but that person can reconnect it in seconds. So they have to understand that vibration creates change as well. And if they're on board, then yeah, I don't believe there's anything that can't be changed.
Jessica says, can we book psychic surgery for another person? Would it be the same permission process as a clearing? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get permission from the higher self. Yeah. Someone just said, can we clear ADHD? I don't know. That's a good. I don't think so, because I've had a lot of clearings and mine's still intact.
You know, this is a really, really, really good question.
Yes.
And you know, I'm not connecting to White Hawk now, but White Hawk always comes back with the same answer. Why? Why would you want to? They're wired differently. Just because they're not wired the same way, what's normal? But just because they're not wired the same way as a normal person, and I don't mean normal in that way.
I was going to say, don't insult me.
Yeah, exactly. Normal. Yeah. How do we know that they're not the heightened being? Because when it comes into that side of things, people that can't concentrate on one thing, people with ADHD, ADD, all these different things, they have a skill sector that I don't have. They have a skill sector that normal people don't have. So as he will say, as soon as we get away from the fact that we think that ADHD is actually a disability, we will then begin to learn why these people with ADHD are here and how they can work. Because usually, I mean, people with autism, people with ADHD, ADD, whatever it is that you see, you can see some incredible work. Once they're allowed that freedom of expression, once they're allowed and given that support, once they get that support and they're allowed to be themselves and that freedom to fly, look at the work they can do. Why would you want to stop that? It is so love. Yeah, right. Fucking wipe it off. Why would you want to stop that?
I think, to be honest, we saw that on the course, didn't we? When Lara was sat there on the course, when I observed quite a few times, you were busy doing basically 2 or 3 things at once. You were busy answering Facebook, doing comments. We were talking about things, and you'd look up and ask a question, and I was looking at you, not looking at you, but looking at the whole group, and it looked to me like you weren't actually listening to what I was saying, but you were able to. Yeah, and you did, and you assimilated everything. In fact, you verbally remember more than I did that I said normally. I mean, that's the kind of thing, isn't it? It's that, you know, people with ADHD, it's how they channel the information and the way they work, isn't it? It's the key thing. Right. And obviously, children with ADHD are probably quite difficult for the parents, but as they get older, those skill sets and the ability to think differently comes online, and that's the bit that we really need to kind of embrace, I think.
And that's
I
the
call it my
thing, you know.
it gives me energy. I just zoom, zoom, zoom all day long.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
that's the thing when we do clearings. Sometimes, you know, quite regularly, you know, we might get a report from a parent saying that my child is special needs. And White Hawk will reply in the guide's advice is that your child is not special needs at all. They're different needs. Because when they say special, they're saying it in a way that's derogatory.
Like you
They're
should
not
ride in the short
normal,
bus.
therefore they need special treatment. He would rather say they're not normal and they are special. But he doesn't mean it in a derogatory way. He means it in a way that they're heightened with their vibration. So he will come back always and say, you know, this is not that your child has a derogatory system here. They work differently. They're wired differently. And one of the things that we've wanted on this planet for so long is people that are wired differently. So the planet doesn't continue to go sliding down this shit tip that we have now. And the only way we're going to get out of that is by change. And if we have the star seed, if we have these children coming through now that have our generation supporting them, believing in them, giving them opportunity to find their special structure and their uniqueness, then where are they going to take the planet in the next 30, 40 years? Because we won't be able to, because we're proven that we don't. We need these kids coming through that think differently, that have different boundaries, that have different specialities. We need these kids coming through. And White Hawk is very much your job is to look after these kids and not put them down. Sounds like I'm on a soapbox. I don't mean to be.
I love every word you just said, Jonno. Thank you.
You're on a soapbox quite often, though, to be fair.
I'm normally on it.
I
Just not
resonate
at the
with all
moment.
of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, we don't want to all be cookie cutter. We don't want to all be the same. And sometimes the people that are different are the people that really are going to change the world. And those are the people we should be applauding.
Supporting them. Absolutely. That's our job.
There's a reason they've been trying to drug us and keep us down and make us take special classes. And I was on detention until further notice. UFN. I had detention literally the entire year I was in school. Yeah, you know, it is what it is. You do tend to stick out like a sore thumb when you're different. And when you stick out as a sore thumb, you tend to get whacked a few times. And then you feel like you're not the person you're supposed to be. And I've had to fight that my whole life. So thank you for everything you just said. It's 100%.
It's there. I mean, when I was at school, I was put in special classes because I wasn't very good at maths. I was put in special classes because I'm very poor at spelling. I have dyslexia. You've only got to ask Maggie what I'm like dealing with emails, you know, and they, you know, I'm not joking. They intimidate me. I don't want to do it. But part of that is because of the heaviness that I was put in because I was poor at spelling. And, you know, rather than thinking, oh, he's quite a nice kid, Jonno. He's a crap speller, but he's quite a nice kid. You know, perhaps he's going to do some good in other ways. There was none of that. It was, you're out. You got to go and stand in the corner. You got to go into the dunce class. And I was like, all right, I'll go. But that's what
People
it was
with
like.
dyslexia, they see things differently. It's almost like you see things in 3D in a way.
Yeah.
I was actually told they have a very profound way of actually looking at the world that the guides were even saying is a very important gift.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk to my son. My son is 23 years old. He's a house music producer. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant DJ. And he now produces house music that has a healing vibration in it. So when he's playing in clubs, not only are people, you know, showing that expression of freedom because they're dancing, is that they are in a vibration of healing when he plays. And if you say to him, you know, how do you hear music? He'll say, I don't. I see it. And I feel it.
Oh, wow.
I don't hear it. And, you know, people's minds are different. Allow people to be who they are and support them to express that side of people where they can come out and excel. And if we do that, we are going to see a world that will change. By the end of my lifetime, we will see that we'll see that change coming through. I have no question about it.
You do realize now everybody wants his YouTube channel, right? Now that you just Now they need the name so we can listen to the music, Jonno.
Yeah, he's on SoundCloud. Hass, HASS.
HASS. Nice. Cool.
Hass.
I'll have to give
His
it
name's
a listen.
Harrison. He's called Hass.
Cool. Thank you for that, Jonno. We loved, the healing modalities, especially the ones with music involved. So thank you. Very exciting.
Music's very powerful, isn't it?
Very cool. Love it. So I've been keeping you guys for over an hour here now. So I'm just going to plug some stuff before we let you guys run off and do your thing. So we've got the SRA website that I'm going to share for you guys. For those of you who are interested in taking the course, looking at the student training roadmap. So those of you who are wondering what you might be getting if you sign up for the course, they've got the whole training roadmap up there for you. We've got testimonials, we've got articles, we've got all kinds of goodies up there on the website. So make sure that you guys check it out. You can also find these individually. There's Jonno's website on the bottom. You can also find Andy through andyporter.co.uk as well, I believe. Is it, Andy, your website?
Well, yeah, andy-porter.co.uk. And I think as well on the SRA website, we've basically got application forms. So if you're interested in doing either course, online or in person, we're not really differentiating between the types of courses for the in-person now. So you just apply, you fill an application form and you can pick, I'm interested in online or in person. And then as we have more in-person courses, obviously that application form can be used by us in different ways. So it's not specific to the next USA course in New York. It's just fill the application form in, tick your interest. And then basically there's nothing to pay at all. There's no payment required at the time of expressing interest at all. And then basically we'll come back to you at some point. So with the New York up and coming course now, if you're interested to do that and find out more info, or they've got more questions, then Jonno and I, and probably yourself, plan to do some sort of Q&As and Zoom chats, and obviously we can talk about it on the Facebook discussion group, etc. So people with questions we can cover. But the idea is that if you just apply, then we've got your details. We're sending mail shots and some updates and things out as well via email, and effectively then we have everything in one place to deal with and connect to people. Because one thing we have noticed is we send out emails, and I think a lot of them end up in people's spam. So of course we're not sure if you're interested or not interested. And there have been people that wanted to come on the training that didn't get to hear about it via the emails because it arrived in their spam folder. And of course, once we've populated the course, as Jonno said, then obviously we close the application process for that particular course, and obviously then put you in the kind of category for the next course that we plan. And obviously we communicate that out to the people that are waiting. So there's quite a few people that have said, I'm not available to do this particular course because of the dates, but pop me in the kind of waiting list, and then we'll communicate that out as new courses come up. So from my perspective, we're trying to make it easy, really, and simple, that you just apply and you take online or in person or both, whichever you fancy, and then we'll connect with you after that.
I recommend the in-person more than anything. Connecting with other people and making friends in person. You can't top that, in my opinion. I absolutely adored the online training and getting to know. And the friendships, I have one of the people coming to visit me next week. Candy's coming to visit me. She's flying here from Canada, so we're going to hang out. The friendships you make at these training courses I feel are going to be lifelong. So, it's not just, it's just lovely.
Connection.
Yeah, I think as well, I can kind of see a day when we'll almost get to the kind of retreat concept that rather than a training course, we actually pick somewhere and everyone can fly in and we can sit around the kind of campfire and just talk and have fun and talk about, just talk about experiences.
Like reunions. We have reunions for all kinds of things. We could totally organize an SRT reunion where we all just come together and hang out and chase beasties and stuff.
That's a job for you then, Lara. That can be your job.
Okay, yeah, challenge accepted. I'll manifest it. We'll manifest it next year, though. Yeah, about May, June next year.
I think it probably won't be too much for the rest of this year. I mean, that was the plan with this October course, really. Was we thought let's do New York in October. Let's get to the States, meet the people that want to meet us, and obviously do the training and train a new group of people, and then that kind of signs us off for the rest of this year, really, from that perspective. And then, of course, we'll focus on the online people, which is where we're going to be focusing next.
I have friends that are already saying they would like to come to Glastonbury next year for a class. So we can keep another one for next year close at home, make it easy for you guys. But I've already got people that are saying, they're saving up their money. They want to come next year for to come to England and do it again. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it's a good point from our perspective. Lots of people have said, that we know the course isn't particularly cheap, but it's not really a course. It's a new lifestyle, a new job,
career.
New career. So if you look at it from a career perspective, it's not actually that expensive, really.
No.
But we're actually looking at
$60,000 for a year of college, and you don't even get half as much as as an opening for all kinds of things for this. So yeah, 100%, it's worth every penny. Agreed.
So what we were thinking of doing is coming up with like a payment plan that you can start paying up front. So you can pay like $100 a month or $100 every 2 months or something maybe, and we can actually start to kind of like help you fund a course basically that way, because lots of people are asking for that type of thing. I know we still need to kind of flesh that out, really work out how it looks and how it works, but it's something else that we're talking about, because we realise that lots of people can't just find lots of money in a short time. But if you know the training's coming in 6 or 9 months or a year's time, then you can be putting money by, which of course you could do yourself. But sometimes it's always more difficult, isn't it, to kind of keep your own money in a pot to one side, because there's always things that you need to spend it on. Whereas if you're actually putting it into a payment plan, then if you don't decide to come, or there's other things that change in life, then obviously we would give you the money back. So it's just another idea from our perspective as to how we can help people kind of fund the training, basically.
Yeah, and if you do come to the UK, where Andy and I live, we live about 25 minutes away from each other. Where we live in Wiltshire, it is the heart of crop circle country. We live very, very close to the Avebury Stone Circle, which is the largest stone circle in Europe. It's about 4,000 years old. We live a very short car drive to Stonehenge, and close to Glastonbury as well. So it's an interesting area, that's for sure. And in fact, one of the villages, which is just about 10 minutes from where we run our course, is where they used to film the Harry Potter films as well. Ooh. With the abbeys and stuff like that.
So it's for our little Hogwarts.
Yeah. Did you never go there, Lara? You didn't get time for that, I guess, did you? When you were
no, I didn't get the time. No, I went down to Bath though. Bath is really nice. I like the Roman baths down there. It was cool.
Yeah, right, okay. Because that's the whole problem. In this area, there's so many things to do, and we're kind of aware that we've kind of trapped you from 9 till 5, basically. So you don't really have an option to do too much kind of sightseeing other than, the training aspect of what you're there to do.
Some people do come a couple days early, and a couple days later, they stick around for a couple days and go on an adventure. So that's good, plan it however you like to.
Yeah, definitely.
Gotta love it.
Definitely.
Cool.
So thank you to everybody that's made.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us today. Always good fun. And thank you both, Jonno and Andy. It's such good fun to have a chat with you guys. It's always a laugh.
Always our pleasure.
Yeah, I like to laugh. Laughing's good. Okay. Well, thanks for hosting that.
Ray just said, can we please, just for a moment, raise our hands up and send out some good energy to the world? Chen told us to do it, so let's do it because Chen told us to.
Cool.
We got to send out
quite happy to
yeah, we're gonna lift the hands up, send out all the good vibes to everybody, all of the love.
Yeah, it's almost like that kind of Skynet, where we like the Skynet computers. That
everybody put their hands up and look grid. Yep, and then you can feel the good vibes coming from everybody when we do this. So thank you, love you all. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cool.